And hello, movie lovers. So today I actually have Nick with me, and we're going to be reviewing episode 6 of House of the Dragon. And I can't wait to dive into this. And I wish that fucking stupid vacuum cleaner would stop vacuuming while I'm trying to talk. But anyways, here we are. So we're going to talk about House of the Dragon. All right, how you doing, Nick?
Good, ready to rock.
Me too, man. Me too. I'm excited about doing this. I can't wait to do this. So like I said, we're going to be talking about episode 6, and this actually takes in 10 years later when Rhaenyra has given birth to 3 boys, Joffrey, Lucius, and Joffrey, who all lack the silver hair of the Targaryens. Viserys rejects Alicent's accusations that the children are bastards. So that's a little bit of the drama that's happening here within episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely like the opening scene because of the fact that, you know, you actually see Rhaenyra actually giving birth to another baby. And of course, you can definitely tell that there is something up with the baby because of the fact that it doesn't have the blonde hair or anything like that. And then it goes into the fact that, hey, look, the queen, your mother, wants to see the baby. My first instinct wasn't the fact that she wanted to check and see if the baby was actually a Targaryen. Mm-hmm. I thought she was going to kill the baby because of that was what I thought.
Yeah, I had the exact same thought. I was like, are we about to get full, like, you know, Pharaoh-esque murder here of a child? Just like out the window or something, just start off, you know, 10 years later. But
exactly, because that's what I was thinking. I went there, everybody's like, no, that's not what happened. What happened was this. Mm-hmm. Basically, she was just trying to check and see if the baby was a bastard or if he was a full-blown Targaryen because of the fact that she's been producing other babies and stuff like that.
Well, and her husband is a black guy with white hair.
Right.
So
it's raised some
Valerian blood.
Exactly.
Kids. Yeah.
So, you know, my mind actually went there, and of course she winds up going over there. And I love how Rhaenyra has the balls to just get up after having birth, and she winds up doing that.
Yeah. Very strong move on her part. Especially when she's like, you're not the one bleeding. And she walks away, and there's just a trail of blood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really liked was that. And then, of course, she's like, oh, now it comes to the afterbirth.
Mm-hmm.
And like now they have to go ahead and try to wipe that off before she goes and sees the queen. Yeah. So after she winds up seeing her, she's like, but then Viserys over there very excited because he gets to see his grandchild for the very first time. Mm-hmm. And then I like how the queen is playing it off innocently. Oh, you must rest. I'm like, you're the one who called her up here. Come on.
Alicent's getting worse by the second.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what's your initial thoughts, though?
I mean, first off the bat, I thought they did the aging spectacularly. Like, the actors all look like their younger counterparts. You know, the characters felt the same, too, which is important. That was the thing I was most skeptical about. I was like, you can make hair and makeup and CGI to make someone look like anyone. But will the acting match? Will the character trajectories match? And I think that they did, especially with Rhaenyra. I mean, that was spot on. Like, she's just as tough as ever. Though now that she's on to her 4th kid, she's getting a little more haggard. Her 3rd kid.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And, you know, I definitely like this other thing where basically it's setting up where, you know, basically it's going to be the queen's kids versus the princess's kids by the time this is over with. Once the queen is dead, once Rhaenyra is dead, that's what's going to be happening over here.
And we all know who wins.
Yes. And that's something that I really liked is the aging process and stuff like that of changing the actors and actresses. Like we mentioned before we actually started on this, was the fact that, you know, sometimes it will take me out of an episode or whatever when I see something and it's off because they changed out actors or actresses. Yeah. But with this, it just picks up the speed of where it left off, like it didn't even happen, which is something I do appreciate with the show.
Yeah, completely. And then obviously the already adult actors, the way that they aged them as well. I mean, very fitting. Like, obviously Viserys is falling apart. But his brother has been living a pretty stress-free life, so he's just hanging out.
Yeah, he's just been basically chilling, you know. Daemon's been just after what happened with the rumors of saying, "Oh, you slept with your cousin," and then of course it wasn't her cousin; it was actually Sir Christian that slept with her instead. And then it goes into the whole fact of the queen still has it in for her because of the fact that, you know, all these rumors are actually happening where basically she marries her cousin who happens to be gay because she's going off of what Damon told her. You know, just going ahead. You can screw anyone you want to. You can go ahead and just be married. She goes, yeah, but if I did that, I'd just be a whore. Well, now she married somebody that she just can have friends with benefits with while she's married and have kids and pump out kids. And they're like, no. It's okay for you to fuck your cousin, but it's not okay for you to fuck the knight or the guard or anything like that. So it's okay to do that, but it's not okay to do that, but it's okay to sleep with your cousin. So, you know, but I definitely liked how they went on ahead and they explained it and showed us the round, basically them whispering amongst each other of what's going on.
Well, and that scene too, like right after she has the kid, and it's all of them in like their living room with, you know, her actual guy, and you can just tell right away they didn't need to say any words. He's the father, like everybody in the room knows that. Only thing I was a little shook with was those kids look exactly what I think my kids are going to look like. I was like, oh no.
I feel bad for one of those kids though, man. One of them looked like one of the guys from Stranger Things with a blonde wig on. I felt bad for the Queen's kids, to be honest.
Well, while we're on the Queen's kids, you know, our introduction to Aegon Targaryen. I mean, beyond like the prank that he plays, that scene where he's in the windowsill just going to town. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been 13, been curious about our
but
bodies.
I don't think I've been on. I never said, you know what I should do? I don't think I was actually like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go in and jerk myself off this window and just if birds are doing it, why not? I can do the same thing too. I'll just go on. That poor balcony's been through a lot. Joffrey jumps off of it. This one's jerking off on that.
Yeah.
If only these walls could talk, you know? But
I halfway expected in that scene for Allison to just go for it because it's Game of Thrones and everybody fucks everybody. So I was like, are we about to get like some real incest here? Fortunately,
I didn't see that though. No, I didn't see it going after that because of the fact that she's trying to protect her kids.
Yeah.
Because remember what not Targaryens, but Hightower said. He said either you go ahead and kill the kids of the princesses, or she's going to take over.
Yeah.
Or you're going ahead and you strengthen your part of the house
and pray to her for mercy.
Exactly. So I was looking at it the fact of these are the heirs to the throne, and therefore she's trying to protect her kids and say, "Hey, look, you need to stop jerking off off the balcony and everything. You need to start strengthening yourself, not just on that. You need to go on it."
Your cousins.
Exactly.
I love how he was just like, "I'm not gonna challenge," and then she's like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I here's the thing. I think that he's not as bad as Joffrey was, but he's definitely got that anger issue that Joffrey has.
Yeah, he's got the rage and the arrogance, and I think with power, we're gonna see like, you know, the Mad King. Like this is about to be some of the wildest Game of Thrones episodes we'll probably ever see.
It's gonna be interesting on how he ages and seeing the different things that he's gonna be doing in the future. Because I could see him doing brothels, I could see him going just wild as a king. But I feel bad for Viserys. All Viserys wants to do is play around with his models, and everybody's just stressing him out.
He's got, you know, a big task of building the intro to Game of Thrones. So,
right, exactly. If he's gone, that's the end of the season. So therefore, we don't have anything. But I feel bad for Viserys because of the fact every single time when you see this dude, he's getting deadly ill.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm just gonna put it out there like this. In that trailer that we got for the new episode, I feel like he's gonna be the one who died. And they're throwing him over. Because it makes sense, because they've been doing it all through 6 episodes.
If he's gonna die, it would make sense to do it in 7.
Most definitely. Because here's the thing: you have to, in order for you to evolve, you have to grow. In order to grow, you have to kill off one of your characters.
Hmm.
And Viserys been on his deathbed since the very first
Yeah.
episode.
And now we
So
have the moment where it's like, will it be Aegon? Will it be Rhaenyra? Well, obviously she's named the heir, but like it's time for the real conflict to start.
definitely, and you can definitely tell these chess pieces are definitely moving.
Hmm.
Like for instance, you have like I said, Rhaenyra's kids, Jace, Sir Harwin, Joffrey's father, is down there in the dungeons room,
Yeah.
and trying to train their kids on how to say Vermax, which is to basically make the dragons blow fire and kill their prey. So, and then of course you have them bullying the other cousin as well. And I just felt bad because sooner or later that kid's going to grow up to the point where he's not going to forget it, and then
Mm.
he's going to beat the snot out of him.
Yeah. Or we're gonna get like some the good brother situations here where Aegon just continues to torture him in like
That's
weird
true.
ways. Yeah. And then eventually maybe ends up like going mad on him initially.
But there's a lot of moving pieces though too. We have the queen talking about Rhaenyra's children, how it's a disgrace to the throne, and then Sir Christian and the queen talking about the how Rhaenyra is sleeping with others and stuff like that, and rumblings. So I definitely like how Rhaenyra's listening in on this. Well, not on Sir Christians, but on other people. Like,
Yeah.
wait, there's a dark shadow over us. We got to do something instead of nothing.
Meanwhile,
So,
her husband is
right.
literally like, "Oh, let me go sail around the world, and here's a giant metaphor for me boning a bunch of other dudes at sea."
And I like how she goes on and says, "Look, you ended up sleeping. Basically, it's the opposite around this now because normally it's actually the female, well, the male that's actually sleeping with a bunch of women.
Yeah.
So now it's a dude that's sleeping with a bunch of guys. And I like how she puts it. You have the finest wine, been drinking the finest wine, sleeping in the finest beds." Then you're also banging the most lustful men that you can find and that your heart desires. At
Mhm.
least you can do now is stick with me whenever I need you.
Yeah. She went like "This is my one favor. I'm calling it in." Like, not
And
for
I don't
like
blame her
yeah.
because there's a shadow that's over them, and it involves the both of them. So if her husband's going on ahead and doing God knows what, and then there's more whisperings, that's going to put more stress on her, and so therefore they have to stick together.
Yeah.
And I definitely like how and he also tries to compromise. He goes, well, I did this for 10 years
Mhm.
and everything, and then she calls him out on his BS.
Yeah. Like, "I'm a warrior." Like, "No, you're not."
No, no. And then
Yeah.
when a sailor sees danger, he puts his sails up and he goes. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, you're a warrior, good job.
Yeah, but you run away from a storm.
And then, of course, we wind up seeing this other thing play out where basically now the person who helps out the king is basically saying, "Look, I cannot operate under these conditions. Basically, your house has been tainted
Yeah.
to the point where I can't do anything because of what I've been hearing." And well, the king is like, "Well, what did you hear, sir? I cannot tell you. I
Mhm.
have to leave."
Well, it's because it's his own son that
Right.
the father, and that would give them a claim to the throne or make them bastards.
Right. And I definitely like his son though. His son is probably one of my favorite characters on here. He's a good dude.
Like, clearly very morally sound, other than the fact he's having a secret affair with the queen, but he knows their arrangement, so there's no issue with it.
No, no issue at all. He gets to hold his son for a few minutes and then go back about his business.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely like how he's trying to coach his kids.
Yeah.
And then you also have Sir Christian, Mr. Sourpuss, that's still holding grudges against people.
Yeah. 10 years
And
later, get over it,
he's
dude.
right. And here's the thing: he's acting like those are his kids that
Mhm.
he's trying to train. Now I could see the other friends with benefits guy, the one that she's banging. I
Mhm.
could definitely see why he would actually stick around because those are actually his kids.
Yeah.
He
Or
has no
couch me
claims.
against the wall.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But So with like the Sir Christian situation, I feel like he's gonna start banging Allison too, and try and take like stepfathership over Aegon, and then teach him everything that he knows, like fighting wise.
I can see that.
Yeah, which will make him super dangerous. Hmm.
That would be very interesting, though, on how they do that, though, how they set that up.
Hmm.
But I don't see Sir Christian. I see Sir Christian probably leaving soon.
Yeah.
Especially whenever he's on the Queen's side. But I could see him maybe defending somewhere else that she has him, because now she's got middle finger now on her side.
Or maybe he gets got. Game of Thrones. Anything can happen.
This is true. This is very true.
Yeah.
But okay, so we also have this other great scene where basically you see this big monologue that's going down, and of course, the father and the son both get burnt up in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one who ended up cutting out this guy's tongue so the way they can't talk.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. This is, like I said, this is the most Game of Thrones that we had.
Yeah. Like, finally, like, classic torture scene. Like, I mean, obviously, like, the crabs were pretty good early on, but, like, it'd been more politically driven lately, and we finally got that, exactly what you're saying. Like, here's my act of mercy for you. You don't have to die, but you're never going to say a thing again, and we're going to go burn this building down.
Exactly. And it makes it look like that the Queen put a hit on the father and the son when she didn't even know anything about it.
But now she's implicated.
Right. So now she's guilty by association with this guy. And he just gives me the creeps. I'm just going to be real. But
definitely.
But he's like, you're going to thank me later. I'm like, dude, you're starting a war within the house itself to tear its own walls down.
Or like, dude, you killed your own father.
Right. You out of your own father killed and fired the other one.
Yeah.
Which was, basically her listening to him, and then she's listening to the father, the high tower guy. But he actually gave her some good advice, though. Either you try to defend, or you end up dying, and your house will fall.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of like a big theme of this all, I feel like. Like, if you're not actively doing something, you're screwing yourself over. Unless you're Viserys.
Exactly. And Viserys is just ill. He's trying to catch up with his wife that walks away from him. He goes, "Oh, my king, I'm so sorry. Sit down."
What that tells me, though, about him, I mean, this is purely me projecting onto it, but he's probably a pretty good king. Like, outside of the stuff that we see. Because, I mean, any king that is that sick in as violent as a time as Game of Thrones is, someone's going to come after him. But
I think so.
No one has.
Right, this guy is a good dude, and I like how in like the last episode or the episode before last, he winds up sitting down with his right hand man. He goes, "Am I a good king? Am I going to be remembered as a good king?" He's like, "Yeah, you're all right."
Yeah, but he's like, "I won't be remembered," but it's like you had a lot of peace in your time, and you're the last one of those for that family.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and then we also have this other thing being played out where basically now Rhaenyra wants to move back over to Dragonstone. And so basically what winds up happening with that is he's like, okay, well, let them talk about me, but I'm not going to be here to be a witness to it anymore.
Yeah.
So she winds up leaving, packing the kids up. And of course, she's like, you know what? Bring your boyfriend with you. We need all the men we can get. I'm not picky at this moment. Just
Well, and so have you looked into like the Targaryen family tree at all?
No, I thought about it, but I just haven't had the time.
Okay, so there's some stuff coming up there that's going to be real exciting for the series if they follow it exactly to how it is, which would make sense. It has to do with Dragonstone though, so
I can't wait. Dragonstone to me is actually one of my favorite locations within the Game of Thrones universe for House of the Dragon. So I'm excited to see what they have. But of course, Damien is also too. His wife is trying to give birth to another kid, and of course, she doesn't give birth to the kid or anything like that, and then she winds up committing suicide.
Yeah. Well,
The
dying
dragon
a dragon rider's death, which is
going
exactly
out
what
in a
people
blaze of
remember.
glory.
Yeah, that was a heavy scene, but the most unfortunate thing about that scene, obviously expertly shot, critical for the show, but she was one of the stronger actors in that episode, and it's a shame that now she's dead. Like, we're not going to get her unless there's flashbacks, but it's like
That's
kind of served her purpose. Gave Damon his two daughters, who he cares nothing about, but will probably find a way to use somehow. Yeah.
well, in a way, I feel like he does in a certain aspect because of the fact that he does love his wife.
Hmm.
So, and then you can see that little bit of closeness with them.
Hmm.
But as for political gain, I can see it trying to work in his favor
Hmm.
because of the fact that he needs them to be married. In order for them to get married, he has to try and persuade people to marry them. So it can use that as a political gain. Also, too, whenever he's talking to those townspeople as well,
Hmm.
those townspeople are also giving him land. They're
Yeah.
giving him a place to stay without any having to do any kind of political power at all. And you basically have free money coming in
Yeah. It's
because
like
the people.
a protectorship or making a deal with the mafia, basically.
Exactly. It's like, okay, well, we'll let you stay here for free. We'll let the townspeople pay you
Yeah.
for our protection, and we'll also let you have your dragons.
Hmm.
We need dragons to protect our land.
You're actually getting all this because you have dragons.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we need right now.
Hmm.
So, in Damien's way, it's like, okay, I can actually use this for a political gain. It's like, okay, so I have all this,
Yeah.
and it makes it look like I'm actually rich, but really I'm not rich, but I am of high power.
Hmm.
But it makes me look like that I'm doing everything for these people when I'm really not.
Yeah. Really, I'm just hanging out here, getting drunk, occasionally flying my dragon with my wife, who's giving birth to our next kid. No, she's not.
No, but it's a win-win situation on Damien's part. But his wife is also trying to say, "No, we're more than that. We're royalty. I want to go back and claim what's rightfully ours. I don't want to just sit here and
Well,
play
she's gonna
house."
do that now because that was her like dying wish, basically, like the night before. Like,
Right.
we're above this. You should be king. Like, you were passed up. Like, he's gonna make a move.
He's definitely going to make a move. It's just a matter of when and how he's going to do it. But I think that he's going to use the girls as a way of trying to persuade what he wants
Hmm.
for a political gain. And then once he gets that political gain, I'm thinking he's going to go back to Dragonstone.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to wind up banging Rhaenyra finally.
Hmm.
Because that's still a go to me. He's still going to bang some boots and
I think that's a 100%.
exactly.
Yeah. Like, it's guaranteed. What I'm really curious of, though, is if they end up having kids and what happens with the bastards.
You see, that's what I was wondering though too. Like, where does Jon Snow reign from though? Because it's been so long that I've seen Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, we're getting Jon Snow spinoff series, but I forgot he's royalty with the Targaryens, right?
Yeah. So he was, I forgot, was it Lena Targaryen, right? Is that her name?
Yeah,
Yeah. I think she had dark hair and dark features. That's why Jon Snow did too. It's got to be one of the bastards.
that wouldn't be surprising because of the fact they are bastards. So therefore, it might actually be one of the sons that winds up surviving this. So
Yeah.
that might actually be where he reigns from then. Because that was like what my question was. I'm like, okay, I'm excited about a Jon Snow spinoff, but where
Mhm.
does the connection at? So I was also thinking too with the because of the fact that everybody has black hair. So I was actually thinking maybe it might be the little brother that's been getting his ass kicked.
Um, the blonde one?
Not the blonde one, but it's
Oh yeah, yeah. The older
yeah,
of the two cousins, right? Yeah, yeah.
right.
Could be. I don't know. They're definitely setting up for that to be like the big primary battle, so that would make sense if he's the like descendant that he's from.
Like then also too, I feel like I just feel bad for Viserys because of the fact that he's trying so hard to unite the houses, and now you have this beef war with the queen and the princess to the point where it's like, okay, well now you put me in between you guys, and there's a split between us, and I want to try and fix it, but I know I can't fix it,
Yeah.
kind of situation.
Hmm.
And I feel like
He
too,
can't fix it because he's the one that caused it.
right, exactly.
Yeah. He put the technical, patriarchal heir in Allison's womb. So, like,
Now my
yeah.
question is this: what did you think about the counterclaim that Rhaenyra had
Oh,
when
Allison should have taken that in a heartbeat. Yeah,
I
that
th-
that I thought was the perfect scenario. They unite both families, make it so they don't have to fight, and that way, whichever son ends up ascending to the throne, they're still all connected, and nobody loses power. But Alicent's a selfish bitch, and has grown terrible in the last 10 years.
definitely, and
Yeah.
I like how basically Rhaenyra winds up calling her out because we used to be friends before
Hmm.
all this, and now you're stuck in your ways. It's been 10 years, and you married my father,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to strengthen the houses, and you're not gonna do it,
You
all
married my
because
father, and you're mad at me because I might have had sex once and then lied to you because you would have freaked out.
right.
Like, women.
And on top
Right?
of that, it wasn't even with her cousin at all. It wasn't even with Damon at all, even though he
Mhm,
got banned from the town, which was stupid on Viserys' part because of the fact Damon was basically, even though he wants to bang her, he was
mhm.
still trying to protect her. For even
Yeah.
though it was for his own gain, he was still looking out for her.
Well, and she also wanted it too in that scene. It's
Hmm.
not like, obviously they were clearly grooming her, and they talk about that in the after episode stuff. But like, at the same time, like, she was making, no short impulsive moves there. Like, she definitely was thinking about that for a long time, and you could tell. I mean, obviously the cinematography early in the season helped a lot too with that, establishing that there's feelings that are mutual. But yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes for sure.
I am too, because there's a lot of stuff that they can do with that.
Mhm.
And like I said, it's not over between her and Damon.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that right now. He As soon as she finds out that she's over at Dragonstone, it's gonna be like Joey from Friends, how you doing? And so, I think that they're gonna knock boots. I think they're gonna go on ahead and sleep with each other, and
Mhm.
then after that happens, they're gonna rise up and try to take over.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think something's gonna happen to her bastard kids that, like, makes it so they're not legitimate claims to the throne anymore, even though they're her firstborn.
I can definitely see maybe one of the other cousins killing them,
Mhm.
or middle finger uh winds up trying to kill them though in another way.
Yeah. So my initial thought is the middle son of the bastards might end up at the wall, just for traditions, and the older one is obviously gonna be, like, the main rival to Aegon, and then might end up being the descendant from Jon Snow.
That's actually a good assumption because as I was watching the whole entire training seminar with them when they were trying to train them on the weapons, I was like, okay, which one is actually the strongest
Mhm.
of them all? Because if you're going to go for the weakest, you're going to send that one to the wall,
Mhm.
and then who's the next one that you would actually cut down after you send out the weakest one?
Yeah. I don't know, that's tough because, like, the older son obviously isn't the best fighter, but he's very tenacious, and you saw that because he recovered from getting knocked over by Aegon and went right for him. Definitely
Right.
curious what's gonna happen with Joffrey, though. Like, are we gonna get to see him grow up and become his own character? And then maybe he becomes, like, part of, like, the Lannister line?
That's very interesting because I was even thinking, okay, that's very Lannister-ish to
Mhm.
actually name your son Joffrey.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, now did the Lannisters decide to name their son Joffrey after because of Targaryen? or is there
Mhm.
some correlation with it? That was
Yeah, 'cause
something else that I was
that would
wondering.
add power to the Lannister family later that they clearly don't have now. They just have money in this moment, and
Right.
Casterly the Rock, which is just literally a place. There's nothing special about it. So,
Exactly. It's like going to the Shire from the Hobbits and basically seeing a hill.
yeah,
So yeah, there's nothing really there.
except
But
instead of, like, fun-loving, peaceful little people that are just having a great time and shooting off fireworks and doing their thing,
right.
it's money-hungry, incestual blondes.
And a lot of sex. And
A lot of stuff
but
with each
you
other.
know, it's making me think though about how this is how what's going to happen next. And I really like this. Like I said, there's a lot of chess pieces being moved around. You get to
Mhm.
see a lot more stuff going down. I felt bad for the father and the son dying in the house.
Yeah.
Everybody, the two characters I liked, died
Mhm.
within a few minutes of each other. So I'm like, okay, so now we're getting to the high stakes here.
Yep. I'm definitely interested in, with how the episode ended with that B like assassins group that's out there. That, the
Oh,
guys that burned down the building and they have that little B brooch. Like, very cool, very mysterious. Kind of felt like Assassin's Creed-esque with like, the whole underground brotherhood kind of thing.
you know what? That's actually a good way of putting it because I didn't think about that though. To be honest,
Oh yeah,
about the
that was my first vibe, right? I was like, that guy looks like Ezio.
oh wow, okay, yeah. Now I actually see what you're talking about because I like Ezio. Ezio is one of my favorite characters from Assassin's Creed. But yeah, it definitely does have that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then
Wait, important sidebar. Who are your
my
favorite?
other question was this. Okay, you remember in season 1 with the king, whenever he gets poisoned, you see
Mhm.
him coughing and all that stuff, and he starts getting sick. Now, when the father was coughing, my first instinct was, oh, he got poisoned.
Mhm.
My that was my first go to. But then I'm like, wait, how did he get poisoned
Yeah.
or anything? So I'm like, okay, that's not it. But he's coughing for a reason. Then
Well,
we
see,
wind up finding
I
out.
had that
Yeah.
same thought actually. The doctor always kind of sketched me out. Especially like when he put that potion that would like, you know, mend Rhaenyra. Obviously she didn't take it.
Right.
But it could be a case where like maybe someone close to him is getting medicine for him that's really making him sicker, especially considering the Iron Throne is cutting him and like weakening his body to begin with. That was definitely a thought that crossed my mind. But I think at this point he's just getting old.
Yeah. At first, I thought the Macers was actually the ones that were poisoning him.
Mm.
But now I'm thinking along the lines of maybe it's his wife that's poisoning him, but now it's just age catching up with him.
Yeah. I think I had that thought about Alicent also, but at the end of the day with her, she's in a situation where I think her power is solely latched to him right now, and him somehow calling Aegon his heir before he dies, which is why
And
she's trying to like besmirch Rhaenyra and her kids so hard because she knows she's got like the ultimate stakes here. Like my family could have the Iron Throne, but she's not seeing it from the big picture here because Rhaenyra offered her that opportunity one generation away.
exactly. And that's where Rhaenyra's going to wind up winning this in the end, is because of the fact that you only have one blood going through the whole entire sanction of your territory. You
Hmm.
don't have uh, don't get me wrong, you have bastards and stuff like that. That's part of Rhaenyra's
Yeah.
thing. But then you're also going to probably have Damien that comes in with his daughters, and they're going to produce,
Mhm.
and then they're going to strengthen up their house. Meanwhile, you only have one bloodline that you're counting on.
I just had a
Okay,
Damon's daughter, one of Damon's daughters, maybe marries Aegon Targaryen.
that's actually that would actually be a good power
Yeah,
play.
because then you've got Valerian Targaryen mixed with another Targaryen.
That
That's
that would
Valerian,
be something I would see.
Targaryen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could definitely see it, and it strengthens up all the houses, not
Mhm.
just one or two. It strengthens up all three.
Yeah, and, I don't know if you remember Joffrey's quote from the original Game of Thrones series, but, he's got a scene where he's giving a tour of like the torture room or whatever, and like the history of the Iron Throne. And he says, right here are the ashes of Rhaenyra Targaryen. She was killed by Aegon, and his dragon ate her.
Crap. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, cool. That's what it's building up to. I think she's definitely gonna win the fight between Alicent, and Aegon's gonna age to become the Mad King.
And he's
But
going to wind up killing her
yeah,
in the end.
somehow he ends up killing everybody.
Okay.
But in between that time, there's a lot of stuff that happens along the Targaryen bloodline that's going to be really interesting to watch.
I can't wait to see that, or wind up seeing that whole other power play come out, like you mentioned, from what Jeffrey's speech was. I do remember the torture room and stuff like that. I just didn't remember the ashes and stuff. So
Yeah,
I'm glad that you
it's
remember that.
really quick. Like someone sent me the clip. That's how I've like remembered it. But like he literally is like going over. He's got a torch. He's like, oh yeah, this is Rhaenyra like Targaryen. Goes over like a quick history, and then instantly moves to the next scene. So it's literally like, classic Game of Thrones, Easter egg that they laid in there. But it's something that was passed over in 10 seconds that is going to dictate an entire series with $1 billion budget. So
Exactly. And that's something that I really like, though. I like the fact that we now have some connectivity with the
yeah.
Game of Thrones with Joffrey's speech. And like I said, I didn't think about even having that incline of even thinking that.
Mhm.
So now that I know, it's like saying this, okay, well, good job. You won against the queen, but now you have to fight up against the sun now.
Exactly. So
So,
it could almost be like a situation where the queen and Rhaenyra, like obviously there's a fight between them that happens, like we saw in the sneak peek for next week's episode. So I'm wondering if something there maybe triggers Aegon to go full like fuck these people. I don't care if they're my family. And just, grenade gets thrown on the whole situation.
I can definitely see that, though, being played out. But, I think that this is actually a good stopping point, though, too. I mean, I really have to say that I enjoyed this episode for what it is. It gave us a lot of layers to actually uncover. They packed in a lot within an hour, which is something that I do appreciate. And I don't really feel like anything was wasted. Nothing felt like a subplot. Everything was cohesive and together. The only negative thing I could say is probably the dragons felt more like a CW kind of thing, especially when you see Aragon, not Aragon, but when you see Damon on the dragon. I'm like, this feels very CW right now.
Mhm. She blows the fire in the air, and he flies through it, and they look at each
Yeah.
other. It's like, I hate you, but I also love you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But if that's like the only thing that I have to say negatively about it is the fact that the dragons didn't really look like they were the dragons that we knew from the first 5 episodes or anything like that. It just didn't feel realistic in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, not saying dragons are real or anything, but it just didn't have that same vibe that I got from like the couple of episodes.
Mhm.
But still, overall, great episode.
I totally agree. One of my favorites so far.
But here's the thing, Nick. I do appreciate you doing this review with me. As a matter of fact, I might try and get you back over here again for episode 7
Hell yeah.
as well, because I'm glad that you're a big throner. So that's something that I'm actually happy about.
I'm a throner and a dragon rider. That is acceptable as well.
That, by the way, ladies, that's actually listed under his dating site. I am the throner, and I'm. But here's the thing, though. He's married, so therefore he had to delete that dating app. So
Get feisty. And I'm not trying to
But anyways, thank you again, Nick. I do appreciate this. And tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, we are going to be doing our Hocus Pocus 1 rewatch. So we're doing that. It's going to be so much fun because here's the thing. We've been doing these rewatches. We even did rewatches for like all the Batman movies to lead up to the Batman. Mm-hmm. So now we're doing the rewatch for Hocus Pocus to get us set ready for Hocus Pocus 2. So
it's the best Halloween movie too.
I definitely agree with that. I hands down definitely agree with that. It is hands down one of my favorite Halloween movies to actually watch. If you're just a kid, it just has that nostalgia factor of watching Hocus Pocus on Halloween. So, anyways, guys, that's going to be it for tonight. I do thank Nick for joining me. Thank you for watching. If you're watching, don't forget to comment. Don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to do all that stuff. Also, too, go ahead. Go over to the audio only podcast as well. If you guys like what you see or anything, rate us over there. Always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.